Welcome to Inside Criminal Minds, a series bent on discovering how the elite BAU team catches serial killers. If you are new to the channel, there's a playlist below. If you've been here before, welcome back as we profile LDSK. So first we have to know what LDSK stands for, which is Long Distance Serial Killer, and in the episode they explain how the FBI doesn't have a very good track record with snipers, and that's why they use LDSK. Anyway, the beginning of the episode is great. It shows a park, and this is very interesting because the killer's shots aren't being shown. They use Reid's shots when he's doing target practice, and they do this flip multiple times during this first part of the episode. And the theme in this episode is that Reid is deficient with firearms, and Hotch is helping Reid qualify to carry a gun, which prompts Hotch to say that you don't need to carry a gun to kill someone. This scene also shows that Hotchner carries two guns with him at all times, one in his normal holster and the other one on his leg, which in a future episode they use, and also Morgan uses it in another episode. And before I go any further, I just want to point out that it is impossible to hit anything with those sights. Like, look at the sight. Look at the sight picture. That circle is basically just a suggestion on where the bullet possibly will land. Sorry, it's always bothered me. Next, we see the FBI HQ as they discuss Reid not qualifying and how the team should be sensitive. And then when Reid shows up, Morgan gives him a whistle in case Reid gets into any trouble. Again, showing the friendship and friendly banter of Morgan and Reid. Next, they go over the case and reveal that they've never caught an LDSK using the profile, which raises the stakes. And of course, this unsub is using a type of ammo that cannot be used for ballistics. However, there's a victim who sells a bullet lodged into their spine, but could ultimately paralyze them. As they're on the plane, talking about the killer, they theorize why he doesn't just shoot for the head if he lacks the skill or if he injures them on purpose. When they land, they arrive at the scene of the most recent crime, and due to a handicap space that is far from the main building, they believe that the shooter chose this spot for ample visibility and ability to gauge the wind speed and direction due to the flag. And in the meantime, Gideon goes to the hospital to talk with the surgeon for potentially getting the bullet out of the victim, because if they know what kind of rifle style, they'll better understand the killer's MO. And Dr. Landman is very cocky and extremely arrogant, showing signs of narcissistic personality disorder. Then they theorize why he is killing the specific time, indicating he may have knowledge of police procedures, making them focus on cops as the shooter. I also like the fact that they use JJ's lack of profiling skills to exposit data to the audience instead of using experts in their field to discuss what they should already know. And good news, the surgeon extracts the bullet and the patient is not going to be paralyzed. Then we get a good scene with Morgan and Garcia flirting, and then they talk about the geographic profile or the crime scene locations to figure out the unsub's quote-unquote comfort zone. And unfortunately, because they don't have enough points, they can't get a thorough and accurate profile. Meanwhile, Reid is talking about jurisdiction lines to almost assure the audience that we're looking for a cop or a former cop. And thanks to the rifle that they're using, they conclude that the unsub underkills because he is sadistic. But just as they said that they don't have enough crime scenes to get a good geographical profile, the very next scene is another crime scene. After that, they give the profile with a warning to the cops that if they leak the profile could potentially add to the killings. But they get into the profile by stating he's paranoid and narcissistic, blaming others for his shortcomings, and never without a weapon, and tells the cop possibly the shooter is or was a cop. In the next scene, they decide to reenact the shooting at the park to try to get inside the shooter's head, but also possibly getting one of the bystanders to see if they saw something. And we get a very great scene with Reid and Gideon.
You're not worried about how you look?
Hotch told me that when he came to the BAU, you told him he didn't need a gun to kill somebody.
Well, the only truly effective weapon we have is our ability to do the one thing they can't.
Which is what?
Empathize. They dehumanize their victims, we humanize the killers.
You're just saying that to convince me I don't need to carry a gun.
I don't care you carry a gun or not. Deadliest weapon we have is a thorough and accurate profile.
Of course you believe that.
Footpath killer, he had a shotgun in the back of my head. I'm here, he's not.
Which brings the trauma of the footpath killer back to the forefront of Gideon's mind. Once they start reenacting the shooting, the news reports on the profile, which is extremely dangerous because it could lead the unsub to killing more and also more frequently. And then, after detaining the news anchor, they get his source's cell phone number. And unfortunately, it turns out that the guy playing the unsub in the reenactment is actually the unsub. Oh no. They smoke him out and arrest him, but that doesn't go too well when the unsub kills the cop in cold blood. But this shows the team that the unsub's ego won't allow someone to take credit for his work. And this is when Garcia nails the geographic profile and they find out that the killings happen around the hospitals, which implicates Dr. Landman as the unsub. And of course, this is a red herring. Then we see, it's Lassie. Oh, hey Lassie, glad to see you. Then they talk to a nurse to try to figure out who the killer is. And, oh no, Lassie's the unsub. They find out that Philip Dowd, or the guy I called Lassie because of Psych, is the unsub. This starts an ingenious way to take over the ER. What's also interesting is that he empties half, if not most of his clip, into the electrical box to turn off the power, which is a great way to show force, but also an easier way to do it would be just to turn off the main breaker. And with Hotch being such a gun nut, he should have noticed that and factored that into the way he stops this unsub. Just something to think about. And Hotch uses the profile expertly to gain the trust of the unsub. Also, there's a great scene that foreshadows another scene in another episode where the unsub tells Hotch that he is a one sick dude, and ultimately they fool the unsub into allowing Hotch to kick Reid until Reid grabs Hotch's second gun, and Reid fires a shot to the unsub, ultimately killing him. After Reid leaves the hospital, he tries to give Hotch the gun back, but Hotch lets Reid keep it, and Reid gives the whistle back to Morgan, which is a great way to show the camaraderie between Reid and Morgan, even after this stressful event. As they're going back to the FBI HQ, Reid, backed with a great song, which will be linked in the description, has a heart-to-heart with Gideon about what he feels about killing someone, which is interesting because he doesn't feel bad, he doesn't feel good, he just doesn't know what to feel, and Gideon says that's probably the best thing for you right now. You need to process this as a human, and when the weight hits him, to bring it up. And that's where the episode ends. This episode does a great job of increasing Reid's confidence and showing how much not only Gideon cares for the team, but also Hotch. And it serves to give Reid his first true trauma, and in future seasons, the traumas start to add up, and it is very interesting to see his character arc, and it begins with this trauma. Next week, the Fox, who is a family annihilator, which in a future episode, the team gets help from him, a la the Silence of the Lambs. But thank you for watching, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe.